Welcome to the Without the Bank podcast, where you and I are going to talk about all things IBC, the business of banking, utilizing money correctly, and how it will all help you grow your business and your wealth. No fluff here, folks. Straight up usable content. Today, we are going to talk about our thought process around money and what we have been told. Now, don't leave. I'm not going to talk about any woo-woo things. And I don't know, maybe it's woo-woo to you if you've never heard it before, but we have all been taught to believe you put your money in a 401k, and if you lose money, it's okay because you took the risk. You decided that was risky. They told you it was risky, and then you were okay with it because you probably didn't know there's another way, right? You probably just think, well, this is it. This is retirement. This is where everybody's building retirement. So this is where I'm going. I'm just going to have to take that risk. Okay, we're going to put our money into a 401k, and then we're going to be told, you live within your means. Don't live outside of your means. Live within your means. And I agree to that to an extent. If we are told to live within our means for financial purposes, as far as live within your means so you can make a car payment, okay. You can make your SBA loan payment, okay. But do you ever get told, do you ever think, how do I get more? Nope. I was never told that. I naturally thought that. As an entrepreneur, that's how our brains work, right? Where is there a problem that I can solve? And how can I have more? If I want something, how do I create more income to have that something? That is not what we are conditioned to think. We are conditioned to think you go to work, you punch a clock, you work for somebody else, and then you stress about living within your means. Or you believe that it's comfortable, it's okay, this is just how I want to be. And then in the next breath, I hear those same people saying, oh, I wish I could have what you have. I wish I could go on vacation. We just can't. Instead of wishing, start asking, how can I? This thought process, and this, I call it conditioned thinking. This conditioned thinking that we are taught from a very early age has got to go. It just has got to go. We think that if we use cash, we're going to save up and we're going to use cash, and then we're going to go buy what we need. And then we're going to save up again and use cash and buy what we need. Okay, that's great. Is there a better way? Right? We should always be asking, is there a better way? Can we do something different? Are we not being told something? I love this quote, and I have it in my book, that says you can lead a human to knowledge, but you cannot make them think. We are being taught to go to the stock market and invest our money, but we are not thinking beyond that. We are given this knowledge, but we are not thinking beyond that. Save up and use cash. We have the knowledge, but we're not thinking beyond that. Put your money in a 401k. It's the only way. But we stopped thinking beyond that. We have got to continue to question everything. If we don't continue to question everything, what happens? We become stagnant. And we just say, well, that's it. As you guys listen to these podcasts, as you are introduced and read the book, Life Without the Bank, that I authored, as you read Becoming Your Own Banker and you start educating yourself on the infinite banking concept, you are going to quickly realize that people think you're crazy when you start talking to them, because they are conditioned to think one way, and they're so conditioned, it's the deepest rut ever, and they just can't even think about getting out of it. You are going to hit some resistance. But pull through, my friends, pull through. Because the more you educate yourself, the less conditioning the outside noise is going to have on you, and you're going to see the truth. This is not hard. And my client Nate said this is really easy when you stop making it so hard, right? The hardest people to teach this concept to are cash users. I was open-minded enough to listen, but I was a cash user. I didn't like loans. I wanted everything paid for. I could not get my head around why we should have all these loans. Even though it was easy to go get money at the bank, I still didn't understand. I don't want these payments. So I was a cash user. So why would I do this infinite banking concept thing? Everybody thought I was crazy, but I continued to educate myself to find out the truth. And then I was unstoppable because we just don't need to do what everybody is telling us to do. There is a better way to utilize our money and to get ahead and do what the wealthy people do. We're just not being told how to do that. How many of you have heard, go to college, get a good job, put as much into your 401k as you can. If you start a business, you're crazy. I came from business owners. My parents never worked for any, they did early on in their life. But for as long as I can remember, my dad was a rancher and a farmer, and he still is. And my mom has a business. And so I just didn't, being entrepreneurial in my family is very common. But I see in other families, it's just go get a good job, go to college, and then you're going to make X amount of money. And just recently, I had a conversation with a family member, not my side of the family. Maybe not that it matters, I suppose, but my side of the family, almost everybody is all my immediate family. None of us work for anybody. But like my brothers, I have 2 brothers. They don't work for anybody. But my husband's side of the family, most of them are employees, which there's nothing wrong with. Absolutely nothing wrong with. But I heard a family member say, well, we're going to need a new house, but that's on me. I'm like, why is that on you? Well, because I'm the one with the college degree. And so he didn't go to college, so that's on me. I'm like, I said, what? You're going to have a ceiling. You're only going to get paid as much as your employer wants to pay you. He, on the other hand, has an opportunity to start a business. He has an opportunity to do all sorts of things. I said, have you ever read the books? Most millionaires in this country do not have a college education. In fact, quite a few of them are high school dropouts. And our system, as Nelson Nash, the founder of the infinite banking concept, said, our government schools are doing what? Teaching us how to be really good employees. And this particular family member has been taught to be a really good employee. She is not thinking any differently, right? Because she's so conditioned that she thinks if I go get my master's, I'm going to be able to make more. The more schooling I have, the more I'm going to make. Yes, maybe. Depends on your employer and what they think that you're worth. Now you take somebody that's in a trade business, that's a plumber, an electrician, and most of those people are going to start their own business. There is no ceiling to how much that you can make. The only ceiling is if you're working for somebody and they've put that ceiling on you and not giving you opportunities. Now, there are employers that don't have ceilings, and that's absolutely fantastic. But this conditioned thinking that I'm going to go to work, I'm going to get a job, I'm going to work there 30 years, I'm going to contribute to my 401k, and then I'm going to retire and live happily ever after. The American dream. What? Have you looked to see what's happening with the people that are retiring right now? They've been conditioned to believe that, and that's not what's happening. We get to the end and we buy our last car at 65, 70 years old, and we're never going to buy another one because this is the last time we have money coming in. Now we live with this scarcity mindset that we're never going to have enough and we could possibly outlive our money. But that is what we are conditioned, and she is a great example of that because of that comment that she made. I can't even get my head around that thought process because it's not how my brain works. My brain automatically goes to how can I have more? We have all these talking heads telling us to live within our means. Go fill your envelope with money, and that's all the money you have to buy groceries. Well, that's absolutely fantastic. If you cannot manage money, then you need a system like that. But if you are managing money and you are a great saver, the question should be, how can I have more? What can I do better than what I'm doing right now? Is it getting another job? Or is it just utilizing money differently? Is it just a thought process around our money? Sometimes that's all it is. I see 20 clients a week, and it's a thought process around money. They're like, well, I can't take from that envelope because I can't take from my vacation envelope for groceries because then I'm not going to have money for vacation. What happens if you pay back the vacation envelope with what you took from it? Will you then have what you need for vacation? If you take from something and pay it back, you then have it. I call that being an honest banker. And we will go over that in another podcast. But it's not how we think about money. So I'm not talking about like, oh, you got to think about money and think and grow rich. Or you just think and money will show up in the mailbox. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these deep-seated beliefs that have us so conditioned we just stopped even thinking. And I have this quote in my book too, and I absolutely love it. Thomas Edison said, 5% of people think, 10% of people think they think, and the other 85 would rather die than think. If you are listening to this podcast, you are the 5% that think. Because chances are, the other 95 are not even going to listen to this podcast. They got better things to do, like go find a second job, right? Live under their means. Be so super frugal until retirement. Don't have anything until retirement. And then when you retire, then I can't spend anything either because I don't know how long I'm going to live and I don't know if there's enough money there and I don't know if the market's going to crash. If you're a business owner, you're automatically thinking, how can I have more? What do I need to do to create more? Well, how are you utilizing your money? Are we utilizing money to create cash flow? Or are we just utilizing money to buy things and then we have to wait and save up for the next thing? If we're utilizing money correctly to create cash flow, guess what? Then we can have other things because thing A created cash flow to buy thing B. Conditioned thinking is what has kept 95% of this population where they're at. Stop allowing somebody else to do the thinking for you. It's time for you to change that, take control of that, and fill your mind with as many awesome things as you can to block out the noise of people trying to keep you where you are. If you are a big thinker, you're called a dreamer. Oh, you're just chasing rainbows. Huh? Some of you might be. Majority of us, if you put a plan down on paper, or you have a plan in your head, I don't care. Just make a plan. I never put a plan down on paper. It's in my head. I know what I'm going to do. I take the steps to do it, and I do it. I'm a dreamer. Well, that dream's worked. I wrote Farming Without the Bank. If you listen to the intro, you also know I'm the author of another book called Farming Without the Bank. I did that as a self-published book for farmers. Why? Because they're stubborn like me. I love them. I love them. I am 100% German. 100%. I don't know that you can find anybody more stubborn. And they said, Mary Jo, you don't know anything. This won't work. I'm like, well, problem is you don't know anything and you've got horrible thought process. You don't understand the thought process. You're looking at numbers and saying, oh, well, this isn't going to work. You're just a dreamer, right? And I thought, well, there you go. You guys are so stinking stubborn that I'm going to write a book and I'm going to make you read it. And then I'm not talking to you until you read it. 11,000 copies later as a self-publisher. Now, I didn't know that was a big deal, but apparently several thousand copies ago, that was a New York Times bestseller number as a self-publisher. People in the book world cannot believe that I have sold that many copies of my book because farmers are about 1% of our population. 1%. Call me a dreamer. I took the steps to do what's needed. I didn't listen to the outside noise. Yes, I had the conditioned thinking, but I pushed through it. And I read and educated myself on as much as I could. But when we have conditioned thinking around money, that's not good. That is absolutely not good. It's going to hold you back financially. And when your conditioned thinking is offer your employees a 401k, put money into a 401k for yourself, even though you're the business owner. Do that because you save money on taxes today instead of taxes later. All those thought processes are taught to us from 3rd grade on. 3rd grade. I have been in schools teaching junior achievement, and they are trading stock in the 3rd grade. Holy moly, is that conditioned thinking. When my child comes home, we have to reschool her. And I don't think that's a bad thing. She goes to the government school. They teach her one thing, and then we can come home and we can teach her another thing. And now, guess what? She can make a decision of what she believes is correct. We can tell her the pros and the cons. What's happening is we send them to government school and we come home and we don't re-educate them correctly because we've been conditioned from the government school as well. There is nothing wrong with them knowing all sides so that they can make decisions when they get out on their own. But we cannot just trust our employer to say, oh, you need a 401k. Here's your 401k. As an employer, as a business owner, we can't just trust the guy that comes from the local financial advisor's office that says you should be offering 401ks. We can't just trust the accountant that says you should be offering 401ks. You should be maxing out your investments. My own accountant says, Mary Jo, you should be putting money into a self-directed IRA. It's going to save you a bunch of money on taxes. I said, well, that's absolutely fantastic, Jack. But then I can't use the money to do other things because it's tied up in a 401k. It's not liquid anymore. And I put it at risk. I know how to build business. I know how to do other things that I am good at. Why would I not want that money liquid so I can go do those other things? Well, you're going to have to pay taxes. Okay, so I'll pay the taxes. I'm going to put For example, I'm going to put $100,000 into a self-directed IRA to save 30 for easy numbers. So I gave up access to $70,000 to save 30? What if I took the 70 and actually did something with it? Whoa. That's not what conditioned thinking tells us. That's not what society is screaming at us. We got to get out of it. We've got to stop it if we're going to get ahead. If we're going to do what other people are doing that are successful, we have to think like the bank who's on every corner. We have to think like a successful person. We cannot continue to think like those educating us who are employees. What do they want? To have us created as employees. We're being mentored by people that are not creating the wealth in this country. We need them. There's nothing wrong with them. We all business owners need employees, and I love my employees. I absolutely love them, and I'm glad they are not entrepreneurs because I appreciate them. But some of us are made to be entrepreneurs, and conditioned thinking is going to hold all of us back. Start questioning what you are hearing. Even this, if you want to question this, by all means, question away. But start questioning what you're hearing and asking questions and start thinking. All right, that was today's podcast. Thank you very much for hanging in there with me. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. maryjo@withoutthebank.com. If you have not gotten the book Life Without the Bank, please go to withoutthebank.com and you can pick up my latest book, Life Without the Bank. If you are a farmer, you can get Farming Without the Bank there too. And if you want more podcasts and more information and you just can't wait for it, you can always go to the Farming Without the Bank podcast as well, and you can get information there. But until next time, we will see you back here again, and you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.